How do you say it? No, it is not bagel, but rather bagel. Pretty straightforward once you know the delicious bagel. Bagel. Once you know.
Doggy, it's late. It's a late night podcast.
Doggy. Yo, let's do this. After Hours with the Bagel Boys.
Welcome back, everybody, to the late night episode.
My watch just told me it's my bedtime, so let's groove.
Ooh, I work weekends, so tomorrow I'm sleeping in.
I work tomorrow.
At normal time.
It's episode 37, baby.
These are your hosts of the late night Everything Bagel, Ethan Flint.
Mitchell Spunkmaster Bowser.
Ooh.
All right, how you doing? How you
to
doing?
this in the morning, turn it off and listen at night.
Wait 8 to 12 hours before
Just kidding.
listening.
Never turn off an Everything Bagel podcast episode.
If you do, you'll perish immediately.
Yeah, that's facts.
Yeah.
We had
You
a
want some water?
listener. We had a listener about 30 episodes back that turned off an episode, and then they perished.
Their arms fell off, and then their legs fell off, and then their heart fell off.
Fell off.
Yeah, it's good. It's done. It fell out of the left leg hole.
Dang,
Yikes.
bro. And that's
Thank
why
God.
you never turn off an Everything Bagel podcast episode.
And that's why you always leave a note. What was his name? John J. Fairweather. What was his name?
John J.
J. Michael J. Weather.
J.
What?
Oh, J. This is
The dude
literally this is an Arrested Development podcast. It's literally, I feel like half of our we reference it at least once a show, I think.
They don't allow you to have bees in here. I was thinking about that like 20 minutes ago. That line. Bees? Bees?
Bees?
Let's see who can bring in more of my honey. I was thinking we should do like a draft or something of like stupid Arrested Development quotes
Oh, man.
next week. I can't think of them right now.
I would
but
need some preparation because I need to pull some.
I would need to watch Arrested Development crack in its entirety.
I was like,
next
in my
week,
head
next
before you said that, I was like, I'm going to have to watch that and pull my favorites. It'd be a really good draft because I feel like we
Yeah.
would take each other's, and that would be
Yeah,
really
that'd be
fun.
hard. That'd be a hard one because there's so many.
I think
good
a
ones.
five spot draft, snake
Okay.
draft. I mean, just
All
between
right.
the two of us.
Next week, I'll text you.
That sounds good. I like that idea a lot. That'll be really good. I was thinking before I listen to music leading up to the podcast because usually I don't have a lot of human interaction before we
Yeah.
record, just based on my schedule. Like usually today
Fair.
I did. I was meeting with not meeting with. I was painting my fiance's sister's husband, my future brother-in-law's
You're
basement.
painting him
Yes, I was painting
like one
him.
of your French girls.
Not really. More like a wall. Yeah,
Paint your fiance's sister's husband like
like a
Jack
one
from-
of the French Girls.
Titanic. Okay, sorry. Keep going. I'm listening. This song is so freaking good. Okay,
Put it on the playlist.
dude, I will right now, and I'll also listen at the same time.
I'll be honest, everyone. I've fallen off on updating the playlist. That's my bad. I'll do it immediately after this episode because I'm not going to bed after the episode. I'm probably going to go downstairs and watch half of a movie and then fall asleep. So how about that?
Respect.
I listen to a lot of music before I start an episode. And I have not a walk-in song as much as it is just a song or music that I listen to right before I call you.
Yeah.
And then I'm like fired up for the episode. And today's was Power by Kanye West. And I was thinking if we ever did a live show and we're introduced separately, or even if you did a solo stand-up comedy show that usually have a walk-in song, what would your
Sure.
song be?
I mean, that's a difficult choice, but I'd probably have to go. Can you guys even hear this through my mic?
I can hear it so clearly just in my AirPods, and it's not even close by you.
Yeah. No,
Dude, you didn't even like move your arm. You just like cued it somehow. How did you do that? Was it on your phone or?
Probably real answer. There's a new sunrise.
Who's this by?
Dude, it's Biggest Part of Me by Ambrosia.
Dude, it kind of goes really hard.
It's so good. I've listened to it like 19 times this weekend.
I've been listening to the Oppenheimer soundtrack and just pretending to be super mysterious and super like a genius, like while walking to get. Oh, I have an update on the treat on my daily sweet treat.
Okay,
situation.
Yeah, your cute little drink or whatever.
Yeah.
Cute little sip.
So I moved, right?
Yeah, big stuff.
So Garnett and Bubbles are no longer walking distance.
Thing of the past.
A new place is Fox in the Snow.
Oh.
Yeah. It's literally kitty corner to where you and I had dinner last summer at the end of the summer.
That's a classic spot.
Yeah. But they have fire lemonade. And that's been my new move, is going there and getting a lemonade. But I haven't made any friendships with any of the baristas. I don't think they look at me as a human that deserves respect because I don't get coffee.
Okay.
I think they see me as a adult child.
Yeah.
For that reason. But that's been my new treat.
Yeah, that's good.
So that's
just lemonade? Update. Ice or no?
Oh, ice, always, yeah.
Cool.
Ice.
Okay, some people
then
are
you can
weird
pop the top
and don't
off
like
and eat the ice. I love eating ice.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you've done it in our podcast before.
I have, and I just ruined the episode.
It's ironic because you are very outspoken about hating when people chew on stuff.
And then I went on a podcast and chewed for at least 20 people, which is so irritating.
25, maybe 26 at least.
More than, I just don't
counting me and you and my mom.
See, but I listened to that episode and then I was like, I'm never doing that. I didn't even make it through our own episode because I was so irritated by myself. I was like, this is unreal. Who let me do this?
I guess me. I'm the only one keeping you accountable with that.
I mean, you're my producer. You're our producer, our editor, our social media manager. So, I mean, that is kind of on you.
I'm too much of a people pleaser to tell you to not do that, I guess.
Dude, you gotta, man. Next time, I'd be like, hey, cut that out.
That's funny.
Anyways, what were we talking about before?
You were talking about painting your husband or whatever.
I was painting my husband. Yes, that's right. That was just me saying like human interaction. But I did paint today, and I know we didn't plan to do gold stars and cancellations, but I have one of each.
Okay, hit me. No,
so my gold star.
Don't hit me. Tell me.
You're too far away. I'd have to drive to Xenia to hit you.
Oh, frick.
Hey.
Hey.
My gold star is basic manual labor.
Huh. Cool.
I work in a position that is mostly management of people, which is good. But there is a level to it where there's not a lot of real work being done. When I finish a day, I can't look back. I can kind of, but I can't look and say, I did that.
Really?
Now, basic human manual labor, which is like painting, most of the trades, you can look back and say, I did that. And I painted a basement today, and I looked back at it and I said, I did that.
That's true. I like that.
Every bit of the color change here is something I did. Mowing the lawn, fixing something, mulching, any landscape product, fixing something where it's like your sink is being weird and then you fix it, or you install a dimmer switch on your lights and now your lights can dim. Like that's something
recruiting.
I did that.
Recruiting some 15 to 18-year-old students to come to a Christian university in Southwest Ohio kind of work.
But it's not immediate. Like you can't at the end of the day look back and go, look at all these students in school here. You have to wait till August when they show up.
Yeah, I can say, look at all these moms that I called today.
That's true.
Look at
Maybe
that.
I should do that. Maybe I should start looking at like more reasonable metrics.
I mean, I can
Look
send you some of my emails, like forward you some of my emails, and you can just answer them for me. That'd be cool.
No, I don't want to do that.
Okay, cool. Yeah. That's fine, I guess. Whatever.
No, I feel like I should look at look at all these people I motivated to receive product today.
Yeah,
Maybe
I mean,
I
that's
should
the way
do
to
that.
look at it. I don't know.
I don't know.
So, can I sidebar our gold stars really quickly?
Oh, that was my only gold star, but yeah.
Oh, I feel like I don't have a grasp on what you actually do at your job. Can you like tell me what you do briefly?
Yeah.
Like, is that even an easy question to answer?
I mean, it is. It's just like, it's silly someone has a job doing what I do. Sometimes I think that.
Okay.
Does that make sense? It's like, why is my job a job? Why am I being paid to do what I do?
So what is it? What's your title?
Basically,
is that a good
I
question?
am an inbound operations supervisor.
Okay.
Which is fancy to say I
iOS.
supervise /
Wow.
yeah. I create the latest iOS for your iPhones. No.
That's
Which is a fancy way to say I babysit adults to make sure they do what they're supposed to do at work.
Okay.
What we do is inbound operations. We'll break down the title as it is.
Cool.
First off, so I'm an inbound operations supervisor. First off, inbound. Inbound is the receiving of product and adding to inventory. So
That
we
actually makes a lot of
receive
sense.
mostly apparel. I mean, entirely apparel. Entirely, that's all we receive.
Oh, you did tell me that. Yep.
Yep. So basically, some company in another country will send us product, and then we unpackage it, and then we say, you said you sent us this, and then we actually receive this, and usually it adds up and like matches up, and we say, cool, nice work, thanks for the product. And then we say, all right, now put this in inventory, so put it in somewhere where it can be shown as in stock on the website or in a store. And then operations, basically I supervise and make sure that people are meeting their KPIs, which stands for something.
Cool.
Key productivity indicators, I think. I don't actually know what KPI stands for. Anyways, we say you need to receive a certain amount of boxes per hour. And then I track the data throughout the day and say, if someone's falling behind, be like, hey, man, what's going on? You doing okay? Can I help you with anything? Is something wrong? What's going on here? You're producing lower numbers than normal.
Like when Buddy the Elf is making his Etch-a-Sketches, and he's like 940 behind for the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. That's almost parallel perfectly.
This is making sense. You're talking in Buddy the Elf terms, so I get it.
Yeah. And then supervisor, so Buddy the Elf was an elf, and then the supervisor for the elf was likely another slightly higher up elf, but not, well, who?
There was one of them named Ming Ming. I don't know if he was his supervisor.
Dude. I don't know that movie very well at all.
Keep going, sorry.
No, it's all good. And basically
Papa
I
elf.
supervise, and a lot of supervising is basically just being like, hey, man, your break ended 10 minutes ago and you're still sitting here at break. Let's get back to work. It's literally supervising adults. It's, yeah.
Dad, I don't want to.
Yeah, sometimes it feels that way, but it's more like, and you're like, I don't speak that.
That was good. I
no
didn't
one
expect
speaks
that. Is
no
it
one
Chinese?
speaks English.
You said it was like
that sounded very
Spanish?
Chinese. It's French. I was trying to do French.
French.
Papa, je vais au casino. That's Chinese again. This is not a good segment. We should not do this. Yeah, at least you have like some
我是很冰淇淋。
Bing
少，是，我是很冰淇淋。
Is that actually the transcript of that video?
If my brother Ming is listening, no. But if only native English speakers are listening, then yes.
Fair enough.
I got the puzzle pieces.
Does your brother speak? Is it Mandarin?
Yeah.
What's he speaking in that video?
What video?
The John Cena video, the Bing Chilling video. Is that Mandarin?
Oh,
Chinese?
probably Mandarin. Yeah, that's the classic. Yeah, my brother he lived there for 13 years, 12 years. So,
you know what I think about sometimes?
I don't got a clue. Nope.
Mandarin oranges.
Oh. Yeah.
Why are they called that?
Oh, yeah, it's kind of racist.
No, not even saying that. Just like, why are they called that?
You're saying that it's racist. That's what I hear you saying.
More or less, yeah, I guess.
Are you kidding me? Just kidding. Guys, after hours episode.
I was just gonna say, things get spicy after hours, dude.
I don't know why I'm accusing you of that. I've never heard you be racist. I don't know whether. Probably. I think actually. Have you ever heard of William H. Mandarin? He's the one who GMO'd oranges to be small and cute and peelable.
One might even call them cuties.
One might. If one is sponsored by a specific brand, which one specific podcast isn't yet. I'm working on it.
Oh man, I thought we were going to transition to a fake ad read. Those are my favorite. That's my favorite bit, is a fake ad read.
Well, what do you think I'm doing? I meant to say... wait, give me a second. Wait, I meant to say... you guys ever want a cool breeze on a warm afternoon in the form of an orb that is colored like a crab, but a little bit less red and a little bit more yellow tinted? So orange. Well, get those fingernails ready. Peel back. Oh, you take this part.
I thought we were transitioning. I have 3 things to say about a cutie. It's easy in 3 ways.
Easy in 3 ways.
Easy to peel. Easy to eat. And easy to love.
Love.
70% vitamin C, 90 calories, 12% fiber, and 8% potassium per serving.
And 100% reason to remember the name. Make a wish. So yeah, guys.
Who made that song? Who made that song?
So guys, use code MBEF EBP 2000 at checkout for 2,000% off your order.
You know what the opening lyrics to Remember the Name by Fort Minor are?
What?
The first line that said...
What is it?
Do you know?
I don't know.
You ready? Let's go.
Really? That's his producer tag. You guys ready? Let's go.
A call and response at the beginning of a song is wild.
That's awesome. I love that. Well, yeah, guys.
20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, 100% reason to remember the name. Is that up to 100?
Takes me back to... well, it adds up to more than 100 because the last line is 100. So,
that's
yikes.
True. 15, 5, 20, 40.
Yeah, it's not adding up for me.
50. Oh, it does add up to 100, and then they add another 100 at the end, so it's 200%.
Oh my gosh.
200% total.
These unrealistic standards are getting to me.
20% skill, 80% beer.
What?
That's
beer?
Another line in the song. 100% clear because Ryu is ill.
Wait, that's part of the song? 20% skill, 80% beer?
Yeah.
Yeah, that part definitely was not in Karate Kid. That's funny,
that was me senior year, first attempt. 20% skill, 80% beer.
Senior year, first attempt. I like that.
Speed run, senior year, no, what's it called? No.
Any percent?
Any percent, is that what it is?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't watch speed runs.
Dude, you got to watch.
I know you do.
Lanyard and I, Lincoln Bryant, we were talking about this speedrunner YouTuber named Summoning Salt.
Okay.
He's pretty big on YouTube, but he makes the most they should be stupid, but they're intense and epic videos. It'll be the history of Mario Kart 64 speedruns. And then it's an hour and 45-minute video, and it has intense moments where it's crazy because by the end of these videos, you are so invested in these random speedrunners whose name is like Hawkaloogie39. Like that's his speedrunning name. But by the end, you're so like, if he doesn't beat Stupid Booger 46, like I'm going to lose my mind. Like you get
Do you
so
get like
invested
attached
in
to
these
specific speedrunners?
But well, in these videos you do, because it's usually these videos are like 2 or 3 different runners are competing, and it'll be over the course of like a few years, you know, and it gets intense. And you get to know some of these people a little bit. Yeah, they're great.
45 minutes, 50 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour and 18, an hour 31, an hour.
Yeah, I watched like an hour and a half.
57 minutes, 55 minutes. That's crazy.
They are
Was
really
it the
good.
Lego Star Wars?
I mean, I've seen a few. I liked the Mario 64 one was actually really good. Mario 64 is great. That's my favorite video game ever. So,
oh yeah, it's only 50 minutes. I don't know.
You should watch it. It's good.
I'll take a peek.
Here's the thing. I really think if you put it on, it'll suck you in.
I feel like that's probably true, because if there's one thing about me, it's that I'll get engaged in YouTube content that I usually wouldn't care about.
Yeah. He makes you care about it, which I think is why he's such a good, like, I would say like storyteller. He's good at it. But anyway, yeah, I think speedrunning is fascinating. Part of me is like, they put all of their energy and time towards this. They will, if speedrunners, if they get their head set on like getting a world record in a specific category of a specific game, they will spend all their free time just grinding this game for like months on end. It is pretty intense. So I don't know if I necessarily
respect or want to aspire to, or is that just kind of like interesting to you?
I mean, surface level, it's like, I do respect. I think they have a lot of like determination and perseverance. It is kind of, I don't want to like rag on them. It is kind of a dumb thing to put all your time towards, but also if it's what you really enjoy, and there are ways to like use this for revenue, you know, kind of make a career out of it in a sense, if you stream it or whatever. So we're in an age where you can do pretty much whatever you want, and if you make videos or stream or whatever, you can kind of make a living off of it, which is cool. You know, I don't want to be a boomer about it. Like, you have to work in the mines or else you're not a real man. It's like, that's stupid. But yeah, I couldn't do it. I've thought about it. I'm like, I'm watching these videos and I'm like, I feel like I should do this. But then I'm like, I couldn't probably play a video game for longer than like 45 minutes in one sitting. So I probably shouldn't.
I've been really into a YouTube channel called Dark Records.
Okay.
And it's not like a fun sit down and watch multiple videos in a row.
Sounds dark.
As much as it is like you see like there's basically disasters and he breaks down what happens. Which is like dark, but also it's super, super intriguing. So I watched one recently. It was called The Poop Cruise from Hell.
Okay, that's an intriguing title.
Basically, it was a Carnival cruise that had a very serious engine malfunction that caused the entire ship basically to shut down. And they like couldn't move it. The toilets were down. The electricity was down. Like everything was like broken. It was just they're on this like big floating vessel that was like dead in the water. Very intriguing. Really? It was only like 15 minutes too, which was like nice. But I just saw they posted another video, not even that recently, it was like months ago, about the Ohio train disaster, which I feel like we talked about for a second.
I think we did, yeah.
On an earlier episode. But I've been enjoying Palestine. That. And then also I've been watching a lot of Shane Gillis, the comedian.
Okay.
Which has been interesting. But
Shane Gillis. Oh, you told me about that guy, didn't you?
I think he's probably one of my favorite comedians of all time. Yeah, I would say.
Cool.
But yeah, I mean, speaking of watching things, last week we talked about the fact I was going to do Barbenheimer.
Yeah.
And I did. Have you seen Oppenheimer?
Nah, I would. No? I think it would be cool. I haven't.
It was long. It was long.
3 horas. Tres?
Yeah, and it felt like 3 hours. But the story being
yeah.
shared in it was very, very intriguing. Like I did enjoy it, but it was like, wow, that was a long movie. You know,
Did you have trouble following the characters? Because I've heard that that's an issue.
It is really hard. I ended up Googling the timeline because the timeline, it like jumps around through a bunch of different stuff that's happening. And that was definitely hard to follow because it'll be like flashbacks, but also current time and all like a bunch of different stuff is happening. And they just cut between it. And the only difference is like some parts are in black and white, some parts are in color. But even there's another section of the story that's still in color that is not broken out very well. So I would say it was a very fun watch, but I would have to watch it. Like when it comes out on a streaming service or something like that, I would definitely watch it again simply because I don't feel like I fully understood what was happening throughout the entire movie. I did get like the general gist of it, but I would watch it again just because at the very end it like lines everything up and you're like, oh, I get it. But there's a lot of stuff you already kind of missed. So
Gotcha.
that would be my critique of it. But you and I have both watched Barbie.
That is facts.
What
you think?
did you... I mean...
I want to hear your thoughts.
Let me begin by saying any movie, or I mean any piece of media, in my opinion, is art. Meaning it is subjective and can be subject to critique and criticism from different people based on how they perceived it, how they understood it. So what I'm saying is not an absolute truth and is not a simple, like it is not the end all be all of the Barbie movie is not my opinion. It's purely an opinion and everyone can have their own.
Respect.
Me saying that makes it sound like I'm going to like roast it. And I'm not. Really. Plot wise, mid. I feel like there was like
out of Ken. How many out of Ken for plot?
Out of 10, I would give it like for the plot, I would give it like a 5, 4 or 5-ish.
Okay.
Out of 10.
Cool.
Mainly my main qualm was like one of the I feel like the only reason that Will Ferrell and the Mattel are, real quick, spoilers. If you haven't seen
Skip
it,
ahead
spoilers
to
for
this timestamp that I'm about to say in post now.
56 minutes, baby.
Okay, yep, go there.
So
I'll do that in
a
editing.
big part of the plot, and I feel like the only reason it was added is to add some sort of forward momentum, was this idea of the Mattel executives believing that you cannot have a Barbie in the real world or a real world person in the Barbie land. But they never explained why. Like there's this third storyline. So you have the main storyline of Barbie, then you have a secondary storyline of Ken, and then this third storyline of that I feel like is the only reason it was added is to add momentum and make sure that it keeps moving forward, is the Mattel executives chasing after Barbie when she ends up in the real world and then when real people end up in Barbie land. And furthermore,
That was weird.
the reaction to Barbie ending up in the real world was highly like, we need to fix this. We got to get going on that. We got to get her out of here. And then he was like, oh, also Ken is here too. And they're like, we don't really care. Which is like a really weird, like if it's such a big deal for someone from Barbie land to end up in the real world, why was only Barbie in danger? That was weird. And then at the end of the day, like,
Didn't think about that.
they found him and like, it was such a bad thing to have a Barbie person in the real world. And it was like also a really bad thing to have a real world person in Barbie land. However, you have the entire Mattel executive suite heading to Barbie land plus this random guy. Which
kind of weird.
And that's all like plot critiques. And I'm like, I don't know. It was fine. I just kind of found it like, that was my main critique on the plot. The messaging in it was like good. I feel like a lot of two guys hosting a podcast talking about a movie that was primarily, from what I understood, created for female empowerment is a rough look to begin with.
Yeah, it's
I
cool.
acknowledge that.
Maybe it'll get some listens
that.
if we say something controversial.
I know. I'm trying not to say anything controversial. I'm just trying to share like what I thought. I took some notes during it too because I knew we'd be breaking it down. So throwback to when we did the breakdown of Fast and Furious 10 when I took notes during a movie. That was the last time I took notes during a movie. The first note I have is Ken's song "Low Key Wholesome." I felt like
the Ken song.
Yeah, I felt like it made me happy when all the Kens came together and said, "We're not so different, you and I. We're all pursuing the same goal, and we're all."
Oh, the one with the dance break or whatever.
Yeah, when it cuts to that musical section.
Yeah, got you.
That kind of, I don't know. I enjoyed it. It was nice to see the Kens working together again because when they were at conflict with each other, it kind of was like bummer. But I like men supporting men kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. That made me happy. The closure at the end. Actually, we'll skip that and come back to that later. I felt like when Ken came back and ran Barbie Land and made it like super, super male, basically, I felt like it was almost a release, if that makes sense, of their manhood being suppressed and unable to be expressed. And so when they had the opportunity to, they kind of went like really hard on it. But there were like aspects of it where it's like, yeah, man, that's part of just being a guy, is like being obsessed with like your car and having your house being called some silly name and having saloon doors on your front door instead of normal doors. I would love saloon doors on my front door. If I had saloon doors instead of a front door, I'd be a super happy camper, dude. That'd be sick.
I mean, this town ain't big enough for the both of us.
That's what I'm saying. So like, there's aspects of that where it's like, that's silly and it's a characterization of it, but at the same time, it's like, sure. I kind of get it. Like, as a man, I would love to have saloon doors instead of normal doors on certain areas of my house. That'd be cool.
You are the problem with America.
Sometimes, yeah, we won't get.
Just kidding.
And I felt like that was the men had been so pushed down and seen as, and again, like this is probably terrible takes. If a woman's listening to this, they're probably like,
just
"You
go
didn't
for
get
it.
the movie." Should I just go for it?
Go for it, because whatever. This is our podcast. Who cares?
I know. I
didn't say anything that bad.
That's true. Basically, I felt like that the men were emasculated during the entire beginning of the movie and didn't have really any identity outside of being associated with Barbie. And I understand that women also feel that way in most movies, because Grace shared that with me. She was like, hey, this is how it feels for most movies, women having no identity outside of the man they're with. I'm like, I understand that. However, I felt as if the entire movie was kind of like painting all men as this. And personally, and I know you as well, don't really identify with those characteristics of women are to be servants and to be nicely dressed side pieces that we can have on the side kind of a thing. And that's kind of what it painted all men as. And if you're not a man pursuing that sort of standard, you're Michael Cera, which was the alternative to that, which is basically no real gusto, no real drive, basically doing whatever causes the least amount of conflict. Mm-hmm. And so those are your two options. You're either a super gusto, super dominant, patriarchal man who wants women to be servants and side pieces to yourself, or you are whatever you need to be in order to fit in and be okay and like not really cause any real stir and have no real opinions and no real goals.
Kind of a weirdo.
Kind of a weird combo, and I'm like, I don't really feel like I agree with that or want that. But at the same time, I'm not downing the message. I'm like, yeah, I understand up until basically suffrage, women literally couldn't even vote. So there has been a very sizable, setback for women in the U.S. and like in other countries, especially other countries too. But I feel like my biggest qualm came with a closure of the movie, where it seemed that the message being preached was men and women can only exist in their truest forms of themselves, separate from each other, and like pursuing themselves and finding identity in themselves. And granted, a lot of this comes out of my beliefs as a Christian, and especially I've been working through Meaning of Marriage by Tim Keller with Grace. A lot of that plays a role too, where it's like, that's not true.
That's like quite the interesting combo, Meaning of Marriage and Barbie.
Yeah, it really makes it hard to enjoy Barbie when you're working through Meaning of Marriage, because you're like, that's not correct. Yeah. Men and women each bring individual things to the table that are highly beneficial for the other person, and the other person needs. It's like clearly laid out in the Bible, men need women and women need men. Yep. And that the Bible, what is it, 2 Timothy, is it? What's the Bible verse? It's like women should submit to men and men should serve the woman, kind of a thing going on.
I feel like one of those is in Ephesians or something. Maybe Timothy.
Ephesians sounds more accurate. Yeah, Ephesians. Yeah,
one of those.
But basically, it's like men are to serve women and women are to serve men. Like, that is what it is. It is not a finding identity and finding purpose in yourself and what you enjoy. It is giving of yourself to the person that you love, giving 100%, and they give 100%, and that is what love is. It's not finding identity in yourself and then finding someone else who also finds identity in themselves, because that's two self-absorbed people that will never be able to succeed in the relationship, and ultimately will never be able to have a functioning biblical relationship, because their purpose is wrapped up in who they are as an individual being instead of who they are in their identity in Christ. And it's like, obviously, a lot of people are not watching Barbie going like, biblically, this is incorrect. And I understand it's a silly movie, and I understand it was not created for someone going through the Meaning of Marriage and as a Christian, Christian going through the Meaning of Marriage.
It was created ultimately to share a worldview. So I think it's okay for you to critique it this way.
Yeah, and I think the hard thing too is like, it was created to share a worldview, and it's created after a toy that is ultimately designed for young women. And young women are being taught this message that you don't need men, which is perfectly fine. I'm okay with that. Young women do not need men. But at the same time, your identity is not wholly wrapped up in who you are on your own. Because at the end of the day, that's going to fail. And then what happens then? What are you left with when your identity of yourself fails?
Yeah.
Like nothing.
Nothing.
So that's my ultimate. I mean,
co-host is spitting right now, dude.
That's my, yeah. I mean, and I think there's also the level too where it's like, you know, there's some more silly things too I have written in here. Ken enjoying the same freedoms as women had, job positions without qualifications. Basically, like, women were basically in charge of like every single aspect of Barbie Land, and then when men took over, Kens were in charge of every aspect of Barbie Land, and the only difference was like the gender. And then for some reason, it was a really bad thing. And I feel like the ultimate, like, the real world is messed up. The sin nature, like, newsflash, sin nature exists, and as a result of that, there are men who take advantage of women and are, you know, unwilling to allow them to hold positions of power, and that's messed up. But what we have is a lot better than what Barbie Land has, where it's based on gender, your qualifications are defined. And ultimately, at the end of the day, I think a lot of guys felt this too, where it's like, you just kind of felt attacked the whole movie, where it's like, you're a dude and this is how you are. You are feeling this way towards women, and you believe women are purely there for your entertainment and enjoyment. And as a man that doesn't believe that, it was kind of like, dang, bruh, we don't all believe that. Kind of like, you left the movie theater being like, bro, that was just a hit piece on men for an hour and a half, whatever it was. So that kind of bummed me out. But
yeah,
I guess, I mean, yeah, you know what? Ultimately, I give the movie, total out of Kens, I'd give it like a 3, because the plot wasn't good and the messaging was not even hidden. It was just like forced into your, like, I think that's the other thing too, is like, dude, I'm fine if you make a movie with like, oh, there was a little bit of an agenda there. That was an agenda with a little bit of a movie, I felt like.
Yeah, I can see it. I feel that.
That's my entire synopsis of it. And
cool.
If I get in trouble for that, so be it. But
you're good.
What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, pretty similar. I mean, a couple things that I was thinking about after watching the movie.
And you can differ with me. Like, don't feel like you have to agree with me. I understand it is, like we said, it's subjective. So I could be dead wrong in some areas, and you should definitely point that out. But what do you think?
I feel pretty similar. Here, for me, it's weird to talk about as a guy because it almost feels like you're on eggshells a little bit, depending on who you're talking to. Because it's
eggshells,
like,
dude, I'm walking on glass over here.
It's like if you are negative towards it. I'm curious if the director, I know the director, Greta Gerwig, is that her name?
Yeah.
I'm curious if this was any of the motivation behind it. I don't know her at all. But, like, as a guy, if you try to be negative towards the movie, it almost is like, oh, then you're the problem.
Yes.
And so that is interesting. And that's where it makes it hard to say negative things about it. Or, like, I know Ben Shapiro, I haven't watched the video, but I know he made like a really long roast towards the movie, and people on the internet are going rabid over this guy, hating him. So, and I'd probably be more towards his view. I haven't seen it though. Or I haven't seen his video, but go for it. Quick synopsis. What do you say?
I did watch it, and he does have some good points. He very well dissects the fact that Greta Gerwig, the director, I believe, was she the director?
Yeah. Did she write it too? Probably.
She might have also written it.
Yeah, sure.
Cool. And then also her male partner, who she's not married with but has kids with, was another co-director, co-writer.
I like that. Yeah,
so I mean,
that's a good way to live.
And I mean, you lay that out and you go, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense why the movie went the way it did. Where two people that are unmarried but have kids together both believe in this idea that men and women can exist separately and find their own identity in themselves. Also, a movie they wrote is Marriage Story. I don't know if you've read or watched that. But
I've seen a clip and a lot of yelling. Yeah,
and it's just two highly self-absorbed people that are trying to make a marriage work and it doesn't work. So, and then, I mean, my biggest critique of it is Gerwig apparently wrote an abstract poem about Barbie that she wrote as basically the Apostles' Creed. Like, she described it as the Apostles' Creed for women. And a lot of that feelings shared when... you remember when the mom is in the weird Barbie's house and just kind of rants for a little bit and they go, that's the key. We need to share this with everyone and then they'll get snapped out of it. That is essentially the Apostles' Creed.
Okay. Yeah. I could feel that.
Like that is the essence of the poem that Gerwig wrote apparently was translated into that scene.
Yeah.
And I think another like a larger qualm is the fact that is being shared with younger to even, our age women as this is the truth and this is what women will have to deal with. And it's aspects of it that I don't believe are true and also are incredibly damaging to women.
Yep.
But anyways, as you're saying, Shapiro had some good points, but he also had some points where you're like, okay, like you're kind of reaching here. Like that's not really, like he was like talking about the wall, like that they were building the Ken wall or whatever. And he was like, a classic dig at Trump. And I was like, I mean, sure, but like, that's not a big deal. Like,
I wasn't going to say it. That's funny.
Yeah, I guess that was, but like, that's kind of haha silly funny. Like I literally didn't think about it when I saw that scene. And he was like, another classic dig at Trump. And, the left will always try to, like, all right, you kind of lost me there. But there are some aspects of it where I was like, yeah, it's an accurate synopsis of it. But continue.
Yeah. Yeah, here's my bottom line. Everything, I've been thinking about this a lot. Even I've been getting pretty fed up on Instagram comments of just like people having opinions about things, and I've realized like you are not going to change people's opinions on things. It all goes back to the root of your worldview and what you're believing.
Right.
And that's like the root of the movie. And here's my problem with the movie. It's trying so hard to present this message that it thinks is so important, is going to solve a lot of problems, is going to empower women, help them change the world. to an extent, like, that's good. Like, I'm all for, obviously, women having a say in, like, being able to have, like, same rights as men historically. And, you know, I think we're generally to that point, which is great. But, like, when I was watching the movie, it all, at its core, was, like, pretty empty, the messaging. And it's really just, like, when you don't have a absolute truth that you're placing yourselves on, when it's just whatever I think is good, you know, Judges, I think of the book of Judges, everybody doing what is right in their own eyes.
Yeah.
Everything went to crap. And that is kind of our world today. Everybody thinks this is what I think is right. Therefore, that's what is truth to me right now. It's so just like, I don't know, sandy ground. It's just shifting. And that's what a lot
Sandy
of the movie
ground
was.
is a great description.
It could not, in my opinion, it could not seem to know exactly what it was trying to place itself upon. Even like, I thought this was interesting. I was talking to some girls about it because I was curious what they thought. Some girls
really
I work with and so that I watched the movie with, mostly Christians, so like similar views to what we would think. But they were like, it was really interesting to see that monologue from the mom, you know, like the Apostles' Creed type vibe. And then the last scene in the movie, when she goes in to the building, she's like nervous, but she's like excited. She goes up to the counter. You think she's like doing a job interview.
I literally, continue, because we're on the same page here. I was like, oh, she's going to get a job. This is great.
Yeah, but then she's like, hi, I'm here to see my gynecologist. And
you're like, you just undid everything the movie was about.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay. Well, that's kind of a dig at women. Like, okay, that's all you are now.
100%.
It's like, so are you an object or are you not?
It was such
and
a wild
that's not even
ending.
coming from me. I didn't even totally pick up on that. That's talking to women who watched the movie with me who were like, yeah, that was kind of like, I was like a little on board. Yeah, I should have rights and I should have I don't know. And then it was like, oh, okay, well, I guess that's all I am. It's just somebody who goes to the gynecologist.
Yeah, you spend the whole movie saying women are like men and can do what men do and all these things. And then the bow on top is saying, I'm a woman and I'm going to do this thing that is purely a woman activity and no man will ever do.
So
what?
Just interesting. Just like contradicting itself almost.
Oh, 100%.
And yeah. So that's my final thing. Everything comes back to your worldview. Whatever you believe is going to dictate how you see these things. And if what you want to do is just, I don't know, almost like what you're saying, have a very self-centered way of looking at life. I deserve everything. I don't know. It's just kind of shifting and it doesn't work. So
I feel like more than my
thoughts.
Yeah, I feel like more than my gender, my worldview defined how I enjoyed that movie. Yeah. Like my worldview of like, I just felt like regardless of my gender, what you were saying, where it's like it was more so preaching the idea that what you believe is what is penultimate. Like that is your identity, and your identity is based on yourself, basically.
Yeah.
And then I think, the rough part is I need to find that monologue. What was her name? Amerigo, or what's her name?
The mom?
Yeah. America Ferrera. Remember. That's her name.
I don't remember the people except for Barbie and Ken. And Will Ferrell.
And Will Ferrell. And I think here it is. It's like, what is being taught as basically what will take you out of and help you operate as a person instead of as a side piece to man. Like ultimately, this is the speech that brought them out of their trance, per se, that had them operating as a piece for women, was really dark. It was really dark. It was all based on physical attributes. It was based on ideas that are purely this culture. And it was just I just felt like it was super, super dark to be like, yeah, that's a woman. Like, that's a woman. And like, literally it doesn't finish anywhere. It's basically, it's impossible to be a woman is what it opens with. you know, and then all these critiques. You're supposed to be thin, but not too thin. You can say you want to be thin. You want to be healthy, but you have to be thin. You have to have money. You can't ask for money. You have to be a boss. You can't be me. You have to be lead, but you can't squash other people's ideas. All these things. And then at the end, it basically just says like, and if that is true for a doll representing women, then I don't even know. And there's also another line too in here that I was kind of like, well, that's weird. You have to, it was basically saying like, you either are completely submissive to men or you're weird. So like those are your two options. You have to be a weird, ugly person. Ugly was another part of it too. It's like weird and ugly or completely submissive to men. And it's like, those are not the two paths. And I think that just kind of goes on more like we were saying too, where it's like the worldview of the people creating this movie is that your identity is found in things of this earth and in the eyes of others instead of, you know, the one who loves you and created you for a purpose much greater than what you can even understand.
Yeah.
But I also understand Greta Gerwig is not a Christian. So
no.
I don't believe she was writing this from a Christian viewpoint. So
yeah,
there is a level too where you have to, you know, I think we can wrap up our summary of it because it's like at the end of the day, we're complaining about a non-Christian person writing a movie that goes against our Christian beliefs.
Yeah. As
a key point of it. But yeah. You got anything else on it? I'm set.
Yeah. You know, redeeming qualities. The lead
Yeah, let's do some redeeming qualities. Honestly, it was go ahead.
Margot Robbie and I know his name because he's awesome. Ryan Gosling. They did a great job.
Yep. I think they did too. And I loved seeing the other guy in it was super fun. Michael Cera was funny as usual.
Yeah.
No, Michael.
She calls it a man egg.
Huh?
She puts an egg in her mouth and she's.
I still see it.
Squirts a little packet of mayonnaise. Dad, are you okay?
I still see him as John Michael. I don't see him as anyone other than him.
George Michael.
I still see him as George Michael. I don't. Yeah. It's George Michael being in the Barbie movie was wild. And there's a lot of good jokes in there. It was funny. I thought it was pretty funny. The jokes of Ken's job being just beach. That was super funny to me. Like
I was laughing. It was a good joke.
I loved Ken going into the real world and thinking horses are like the penultimate men thing.
That was kind of funny.
That had me chuckling.
They really latched themselves onto the horse joke, which is interesting.
They really did. Which I mean I was fine with that. Like of all things, that's probably the most harmless one. I think
Ken is a horse girl.
I do have one more last little tiny critique that's not a big deal, but I thought it was kind of rough when they utilized men's. I don't know how to say this too. Where it's like men's interests being used as like a distraction. Where it's like, you know, tell me about. I think it was different too because it's like there's one side where it's like, oh, I can't hit my golf swing right, and then he like, you know, wraps his arm around her, and it was like that's out of place. Like that's not good behavior. But then other things where it's like, oh, tell me about like The Godfather. And it's like things that men happen to be passionate about being used as like a joke was like, oh, dang. You know?
Yeah.
That happens to be stuff. I mean, as like someone who enjoys silly little random topics. But outside of that, there's a lot of good bits in there. I thought the production was super cool. It felt like there was a very clear line between Barbie Land and real life, where it's like Barbie Land had everything looked so plastic and so fake, but also so real. Like I thought that was super fun. I feel like if you ever played, I felt like it was very Lego Movie-esque, where if you played with Barbies, even Grace leaned over a couple times, was like, I had that car, I had that house set, kind of a thing, where it's like referencing real things that were in Barbie sets, and then having it being done so well in the movie must have been really fun to watch if you played with Barbie growing up.
The weird Barbie I know was a classic. Everybody made their weird Barbie, so.
Yeah, played with too hard kind of cracked me up. Made me think of Toy Story. I felt like Sid had done some work on her before she made it into the movie.
Sid is the problem with men. I
think so. Yeah.
The movie was just a dig at Sid.
It would so be it, dude. If it was just a dig at Sid, it'd be a happy camper.
Yeah. Well.
All right.
I think that's enough of Barbie.
That's enough of Barbie for today. I have another gold star, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Give me something fun and funny or whatever.
So,
no pressure.
Gold star, I just have written getting wet at work.
Okay.
So I
right.
work in a warehouse, and I have to go outside and talk to the truckers sometimes to like make sure we get the paperwork right and all that stuff. And this past weekend, I had to go out, and it was just pouring rain. And I was out there with my hat on and my high visibility vest, just getting rained on. And it just felt good, you know. It felt like kind of like, yeah, I'm doing a man job. I'm getting rained on out here talking to a trucker. And then I was like, yo, I can hook your trailer back up for you if you need. And he was like, that'd be great. And so I went back there, and it was raining out, and I was like hooking in the hydraulic lines. It just felt good.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't drop trailer or anything. It was just we have to detach their hydraulic lines if they pull up.
That's all I know.
They can't move. Oh no, they have hydraulic lines to brakes on their trailers. Interestingly enough, the trailers also have a set of brakes.
Oh, that's cool.
So when you detach the line, it locks up the brakes, and so that way when we have a forklift going in and out, we make sure that the trailer can't move.
Gotcha.
Because that would be bad. So, anyways, I was out there. It's raining, and I'm hooking up a trailer kind of a thing. It just felt good, you know? I was like, that's a gold star. I enjoy that.
Yeah. I like it.
Also, yeah, it was just a good time. I felt good about that.
Look at that. You did something at your job. You can check it off.
It's just, I mean, it was a very normal procedure. It just happened to be raining while I was doing it, and I was like, yeah. You know?
Hey, I
go outside in the rain for your job, or go ahead.
Sometimes, I mean, you can be giving like a campus tour, and it can start just going at it, you know, downpouring. I have never had it downpour on my tour, but I've heard some stories, you know, having to just go like find refuge in a random building, get rescued by one of our other people who work there, and you know, so hasn't really happened to me though, which is nice.
That's good.
I wouldn't really like that.
You are not a big fan of the weather.
I like just a void, just emptiness.
I remember like when we used to live together, you would come back in the room after like it's super cold or especially windy. You hate wind. That was
I do not like
it is so windy today, just pissed off. And I was like, oh man.
Dude, wind sucks. My hair is like feather light, and so any amount of breeze just fricks it up, and it looks bad.
It always cracked me up. You'd come back in the room just so mad. Like,
I had to become a hat guy in college.
Yeah, you did.
And I had my walking hat where I would hold a hat, and then every time I would go outside, I'd have to put it on to walk. Josiah would always get a kick out of my walking hat.
You'd have your walking hat, and you'd have your green jacket, especially like in the winter time where it'd be cold and windy. You'd have your jacket and your walking hat. You'd come back in the room and just be like, so windy out. I was like, dang, man.
That's funny that you picked up on that. Yeah, I don't like the wind at all.
No,
I do get affected by the weather for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of, I like rain. If I had to pick weather, it would be rain or snow. Those are my two favorite pieces of weather.
Minnesota boy, through and through.
I don't know. I'm a big fan. Do you like daytime or nighttime more, too? That's my other question.
Daytime.
Really?
I do really get affected. I don't really like the nighttime. I also, and this is an unpopular opinion, I do not like storms. Like, just transparently, they kind of freak me out. Like, I get nervous during storms.
Like thunderstorms?
Yeah, I do not like them.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people do.
Oh, I love them. I sleep so well during a thunderstorm. Oh, I feel so cozy inside. I'm just like, oh.
Ugh, I'm like, just miss me with that, dude. I feel like my windows are going to explode and I'm going to get shards of glass in my eyes. Is that irrational?
At the
Definitely. Window. Yeah.
Holding your eyes open as you're staring into the glass.
Yeah, I think it's irrational, but I don't like. I think I enjoy generally like peace, and a storm is like the lack of peace.
That's fair. It's like, so what is peace then? Define peaceful weather.
Just like a nice windless evening or day.
Yeah.
A breeze is fine.
What season?
For the most part. I like summer. I like summer as long as it's not like destroyingly hot.
Let me pitch you something. Can I pitch you something? Can I pitch you a weather scenario and just let me know what you think?
You may.
All right. We're going to go late October, Thursday. Nope.
Like the 26th?
Saturday in late October.
Okay.
We're going to go with 50 degrees as a low. Nope.
Okay, as a low.
45 degrees as a low. 63 as a high. Sunny.
Okay. Cool.
Light breeze. Not like anything that would move your hair, but like air is moving. It's not perfectly still.
It would move my hair.
Okay, so then perfectly still. I'm going to go with, not partly cloudy, but just like there's clouds in the sky, but they really don't cover the sun too much. The sun is shining.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go with, it's an Ohio State home game against, you know what? Let's say it's the 30th, and we'll say they're playing they're playing Penn State on Halloween weekend, Saturday.
Go Bucks.
And where are you located? Let's see. Let's put you in the field. You know where the BTS is? The BTS patio?
Yeah.
You know that field next to it?
Yeah.
You're right there. You're standing right in that field.
Just standing?
And it's 3 p.m.
Okay.
What's the vibe?
October, nice breeze, transparent clouds.
You got the leaves are starting to change colors. A couple are on the ground. The grass is still green. It's not.
Do I
super
have
warm.
jeans
it's not
and a crew
super
neck
cold.
on?
You're in jeans and a crew neck.
Jeans and a crew neck. I'm liking it.
The weather, the air feels fresh. It doesn't smell really like anything other than just like air. Like it's very non-scented. There's a game starting in about a couple hours. It's a night game. Penn State versus Ohio State at home. Yeah.
Two
What's
things.
the vibes?
Don't like Halloween. Don't really. This is bad. Don't really care that much about football. Unless
point.
I'm like hanging out with friends and we're watching it, then it's chill. And like,
Okay, let's say later that night you're heading to Josiah Winey's house.
Yeah, that's fun.
It's fully out of his name.
Is Sam Alex there?
Oh yeah, Sam's there, Fry's there, you're there, I'm there.
Tim,
Mitch Anderson, Tim.
Okay. Lanyard.
No.
Oh, good.
I'm just kidding.
No, I'm glad.
Sure. So what's the vibes though? How are you feeling about that day?
I'm chilling.
Out of 10.
I like it. Do I have a girlfriend in this scenario?
No.
Okay. I'm fine, I think. Depends on the day. Yeah, no, I like the weather. That's nice weather. Yeah. No, that's
out of
nice.
10, what are you giving that day?
Oh, that's like an 8. It's a great day.
That's an 8? What's a 10
Probably.
for
Oh.
you? That's like a 10 for me. Like that is probably maybe even an 11.
If I had a girlfriend, probably 9.
Okay, fine. So you have a girlfriend. So it's a 9?
Oh, okay. Probably like a 9. You know what I love? I've realized. I find myself smiling so much when I'm playing any sport with a racket/paddle and a net and a ball.
So you're really pickleball guy, eh?
I played
Huge
pickleball this evening, and I just smile when I'm playing it. I'm just smiling.
Okay, so let me paint a new one.
It's so fun.
It's Tuesday, August 1st at 9:15 p.m. You're playing racquetball. It is 70-ish degrees. Or you're playing pickleball. It's like 72 degrees. The sun is going down. There's slight clouds in the sky. How are you rating that day out of 10?
Great. It's a very fun evening. I mean, it can
And you
always...
have a girlfriend.
Oh, 10. Is she good at pickleball?
No, she's terrible.
Oh, 9.
Dang, bro.
I'm kidding. I'm not going to gatekeep that. Yeah, pretty good. No, that's great. I enjoy that. I don't know. There's not a lot of activities where I'm going to be smiling like the whole time. I try to be like, I like to be smiling, but I just find myself so naturally smiling when I'm playing a game like that. It's like, man, it's so fun. Because as I said, even like with the football comment, I don't always get sports. Like a lot of sports I don't like super duper get.
Yeah.
Football I don't totally grasp onto. Some sports I can like get into it. Like if I'm playing a game of like pickup basketball or soccer where it's like, and I'm not expected to do a good job, I can have fun and I'll probably smile for that. But I'm like pretty good at some of these net and ball paddle sports. Like I can actually.
See, you say that
win.
like there's like what outside of pickleball, like tennis too?
Tennis, ping pong, racquetball,
Really?
any of the above. Yeah,
I didn't
grew
know
up
you
on
were a
ping
tennis
pong.
guy.
Yeah, I mean, I played JV tennis my freshman year of high school, and I would have kept playing, but then we moved. So, I mean, ideally, I would say probably played varsity tennis. Tennis is fun. It really is. It's a lot harder than pickleball, but it's just fun. I mean, did I tell you I played last Friday with my friend
Tennis?
Tanner? Yeah, I played some tennis.
I don't know you played recently. I thought it was just
On Friday, yeah. It had been a while. I'm just
win?
good at those sports, like unnaturally, because I'm not that good at most sports.
we talked about this last week, where it's like having an additional piece of equipment outside of just your hands or feet.
Yeah,
Definitely
it helps.
makes it a lot more fun. Well, you played
So-
t-ball too, at least, right? Or did you play baseball as well?
T-ball. I played baseball for like 5 years. Yeah,
Oh, there we go.
and I was never great, but I mean, it was fun. I was pretty good at outfielding, pretty decent pitcher, low key. Not to toot my own horn, but they didn't really let
you
me
go.
pitch. But
Throwing
I was
heat
just
down
so-
the middle.
yeah, so unathletic as a kid that I was not ever going to be good at sports.
I was not an athletic child either.
No.
No. My brother was. But yeah, I was never. I don't know. Recess used to be seen by a lot of my classmates as like, let's go play football. Let's go play
Yeah.
soccer.
Yeah.
I never really. It was like me and my cousin. We go like rip the monkey bars and the swings.
You
Just
were
go
like kind of a
absolutely
nomad.
Animalistic on the swings. Yeah, for real.
Did you have like stages of recess? Like seasons of what you would do?
Part of it's like my brain is Swiss cheese, so I don't remember a lot.
That's true.
So I might have, but from what I remember, it was always just like go hang out on the swings, and by hang out I mean just pump as hard as you can and like get it so you're
Swings.
high enough that you start to get a little bit of slack in the chain.
Yeah, when you start bumping.
Yeah, bumping. Yeah, is that what it's called?
Airtime then bump.
Yeah. So like that was like super huge, and then
Not a
there was
technical term,
stage
but-
where I figured out you can do the backflip off the swings.
Yeah,
You know what I
I know what
mean?
you're talking
Like you
about.
swing
Those are
backwards
fun.
and like, but you can't do that from super high up or, pain.
You'll die.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you would. But
Yeah.
I
Same,
I would
like
do
if you turned off this podcast right now, you'd also die. So
exactly same concept. So, I mean, same idea kind of going there, but yeah, I don't know. It was, I mean, I didn't really plan my recesses out. I just looked forward until it happened, and then I would take recess and then look forward to going home. I remember one time, this is a random memory. Shout out mom and dad. I think they're listening because they're driving home from Utah right now. But I remember one time I came home from school and it
Peter
was
and
a
Julie?
beautiful, it was a beautiful fall afternoon. And I was eating Ritz crackers with cream cheese on it outside. And I just, for some reason, that's like a memory I have. It was at the house we lived in Ware. And it was just
Who?
beautiful. And that's just a core memory I have. But like that's like the only memory I have from being that age. It was being outside eating Ritz crackers with cream cheese and it being beautiful.
I mean, that's a
out.
nice memory.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like that just stuck
crackers are
with
good.
me. I like Ritz crackers. I like the seasoned ones.
Oh,
You ever had those?
Okay.
Where it's got like
I
little
stuck with
herbs?
OG for the most part, but those sound
Okay,
good.
yeah. You know what I made tonight? Different
No.
topic altogether. I made teriyaki chicken. And the teriyaki sauce I made was unreal.
Really?
Truly,
So,
like, I think
totally
the best
didn't
I've ever
exist.
done.
Okay.
No, metaphorically unreal.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
That's all good.
Oh, I'm a guy. I can't. I'm a dumb guy. Just kidding. I'm kidding.
I'm just a dumb guy. It's okay. My bad.
Tickle fight.
No.
That's a real quote from Will Ferrell in this movie.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Yeah.
He gets in a lot of tickle fights in these movies.
He was a weird guy.
Anyway, sorry. Barbie is done.
Yes.
Teriyaki.
But dude, I made teriyaki sauce. Like it is probably the best. I've made teriyaki sauce before and it's come out okay. But this was by far the best teriyaki sauce I've ever made. Unreal stuff. Here's what you need for the listeners.
All right.
You need sugar, soy sauce, ginger, fresh ginger, grate it, or I just did a peeler on it and just kind of got like big large slices, like cross slices of just ginger slabs. You need garlic. I used cooking wine or mirin or something else. It's all the same. Sherry, something like that. And then cornstarch to thicken it a little bit. So I used bone-in, skin-on chicken thighs.
Wow.
Put it down, skin down first, and you put a
Full
saucepan.
service.
You can do it. The nice thing is you can do it on stovetop instead of having to like do it like in the oven or something like that, especially when it's hot out. And if you don't have central air like I don't, it's nice not having to turn on the oven.
Yeah.
And then you deep fry the skin side so the skin gets crusty, or not crusty, kind of crusty. What's the word? Crispy. It gets crispy.
Yeah.
So that way you can bite through it when you eat the chicken instead of like having to peel the skin off. Unreal. Just probably the best teriyaki chicken I've ever made. And then I had some wild rice and grain something with it too. Just a great dinner. I did a good job on dinner tonight.
Wow, that sounds really good.
Yeah. I tell you I have
Good
HelloFresh
teriyaki
again
sauce can
too.
go hard. What?
Did I tell you I have HelloFresh again?
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you did. That's respect.
I'll let you know how it goes when it gets here.
More of a man than me.
What?
I'm just scrounging.
Just scrounging. I was doing that. Go ahead.
Made 2 sandwiches today, and then I realized all my bread had some mold on it, and it was before not the due date. Yeah,
That's
my bread
frustrating.
is 45 weeks. No, before the best buy date. So Aldi.
Where'd you get it? Aldi?
Rigged me up. Whoa, big yawn. Okay.
What kind of
buddy.
bread you be getting at Aldi?
The stuff with the thing. Wheat.
Oh,
bread,
okay.
I think. Wheat.
I would advise switching to sourdough.
I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't truly know what sourdough bread is.
It's like sourdough bread.
It's weird though. The title's sour. Like I'm not into that. It's like, you know how those like old-fashioned donuts, another name for them is sour cream donuts.
No, but sour cream adds a lot of moisture to the breading.
They don't even have sour cream in them.
They do, don't they?
No, they're just called that.
But they're usually traditionally made with sour cream to like make them
Well, then
more
I'm not going to
moist.
eat them anymore, and my life is ruined.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what I made this week. But it's okay. I threw it away, and I used buns that I had. I had buns that didn't have whatever it's called. This
Mold?
green stuff. Yeah, mold.
I've been on a big smashed burger kick recently. I think I already shared that.
I think you talked about that.
I think it's time we end the podcast. It's late.
No, I do actually have 2 more things that I did want to
go
talk
for
about
it.
this episode.
Sorry.
Time flies when you're talking about Barbie.
It really does. We killed like 20 minutes. Anyways.
It was good, though. So one thing, I have a game, a little game that I want to play with you. And then 2, I have an interesting topic in the form of a podcast I listened to this week that I did want to talk about. And then we can wrap this bad,
Go for it, yeah. I'm
bad
chilling.
boy up. I'm, at this point, whatever. I'll just go to work and be fine in the morning. So one thing, a game, it's called, and you know, if I had made a quick little jingle for this, I'd put it in there, but it's called Am I Desperate? That's what it's called. So, am I desperate? That's the jingle.
Desperate for what?
So here's the story. I was at Aldi. Look at that. This is when I bought the bread. Same day. Bought the bread. So I'm walking into Aldi, and you know the thing with Aldi, you have to put in a quarter to get the to get the cart, and sometimes people are nice and give you their cart. I think somebody gave me their cart, so I was inspired on my way out to get somebody else my cart. And so this is where the prompt comes in. You have to answer, like, for me, is Mitchell desperate? So I walk out of Aldi, and this girl comes walking up to me, and, you know, she's about my age. She's pretty, I think. I see her for about 2.5 seconds, so it's hard to totally tell. But, you know, I'm used to seeing just, like, moms in there, so I'm like, I'm not into them, you know. So I see a girl my age, and I go, "Oh, do you want my cart?" And then all she says is, she holds out her hand and she goes, "Here you go." And then she drops the quarter into my hand that she would have used. And then that's the whole conversation. But I was thinking about this for all day because it's like, there's just not a lot of random girls that I see my age that are like pretty attractive in public and that are nice to me. And so that sounds bad, but like,
go back. Wait. All she said was, "Here you go." She didn't say
thanks,
like yes,
here you go,
or no, or thanks, or she said thanks. Here you go.
She said thanks. Here you go, and then she gives me the She was smooth with it. She's thanks. Here you go. She holds out her hand, drops in. I don't know. And I walked away from that, and driving home, and the rest of the night, I was like, wow, that was a nice conversation. So answer the question, Ethan. Am I desperate? That interaction made my day.
No, I don't think so.
I think so.
You think so?
Or maybe guys, Barbie movie, maybe guys are just so starved for getting like, and this wasn't even like a compliment, but like a nice interaction from a girl.
Yeah.
That's not a rip on girls. Girls are very kind, but maybe it is
I've been a big believer in, I watched a video today of Jack Harlow complimenting Big Boy, another rapper.
Yeah.
Basically being like, "Hey, I've heard you're like a really good father." And like Big Boy like teared up and was like, "Thanks for saying that, man." I was like, you know, I need to be better at complimenting other guys just on the normal. I think guys,
there's not a lot of that.
Need that.
Yeah. I saw a Be Real of you with Grace about to watch Barbenheimer.
Yeah.
And you looked really good in the Be Real.
Thanks, man.
I thought about it. I was like, his hair looks nice. I forget what shirt you were wearing, but it was a nice shirt. It was striped, maybe? Striped shirt?
I have no idea.
Like a vertical? I'm like a sucker for a vertical striped shirt. I don't know what it is. I'm into it.
I was thinking,
not in like a weird way, but
the other day I was at work and I was thinking just randomly, I was like, if someone asked me what hat I was wearing right now, I wouldn't be able to answer the question. I literally don't know what hat I'm wearing.
Right now you don't? Because you're wearing
I know
one.
now. I mean, I see myself in the corner. I'm wearing the black Adidas hat. Sense. But at work, I was like, someone could be like, "What hat? What's your hat mean?" And I have to be like,
sorry, but guys.
No, I literally wouldn't know. So,
wow, what pants are you wearing?
Shorts.
You looked at.
I don't know why I checked. Like I had to make sure. I don't think about what I'm wearing, dude.
That's good.
I kind of realized that. But no, I would say no, not desperate. I think that's a very wholesome, normal interaction. And
yeah, it was just unexpected.
Probably start scheduling your Aldi trips to make sure it's at the exact same time every time so you can coincidentally run into her every time.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously, I'm not going to marry her, but
you know, maybe bring a sticky note and write your number on it. And then that way, if you run into her, be like, you can have my cart and then have the sticky note already on there. So she has your number. Is that creepy? That feels creepy, actually.
Well,
I don't know.
If you are hot, it's not.
That kind of does, yeah. So it's not creepy for you.
I don't know. Am I hot? Oh, yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like that's a super wholesome interaction. I would say definitively not desperate, just wholesome.
Thank you.
And I think you're fine to be like, that was nice.
Thank you. Wow. So anyway, that was the Am I Desperate? And then one more thing I did want to talk about. Honestly, a lot, because some of our favorite podcast friends, Sarah and Hannah Gump, we were just hanging out for our other friend Aaron's birthday, but they had recommended to me, because I was talking about, like, I don't enjoy, like, more serious true crime type things. That's not really my thing. But they were like, okay, you should try this one, because it's not, like, about people getting killed or kidnapped, which is the kind of stuff that I'm like, miss me with that. So I listened to it this past weekend, and it's a podcast, and it's called Scamanda. You heard of this?
You sent me that. You said check it out, and I was at work for 1,000 hours that day, so I did not listen to it, but
yeah, you were there forever. It's very interesting, and I won't like totally give everything away, but obviously from the title and the description, basically it's about this woman who, like, this is like 10 years ago. She claims to have cancer. She starts a blog about how she has cancer. I think Hodgkin's lymphoma is the type that she claims to have. And she ultimately, like, you know, it has a popular blog, is trying to, so she says, raise awareness about this disease. But she also talks about all the medical bills she has, ends up raising like $100,000+ for herself. Like, that's how much she ends up getting for herself. And the gist of the podcast is that it comes out that she faked the entire thing. She faked all of it for like 6 years. This whole roller coaster of she gets terminal cancer, stage 4, goes into remission, relapses. This happens like 4 times. It's nuts. It's a crazy story.
I'm gonna have to listen to that. Yeah, for sure.
It's like
I wish
8
I had
episodes.
checked it out. I was painting today for like 5 hours,
Yeah.
10 hours, or not 10, 5 to like 7 hours, and I just listened.
It'll
to
really,
the whole time.
it'll really suck you in.
I listened to a good podcast about Silk Road, which is kind of the same idea. It's like a crime that happened, but also not about killing people and stuff like that.
Sure.
After that, the same podcast creator also had a video or a podcast series about Jonestown. And I listened to like half of that and was like, this is entirely too dark. And he had like real recordings from Jonestown. And I was like,
No. Yeah, I don't
it was
want to
like
hear that.
broad daylight. And I was like working in like a warehouse at like broad daylight. And I was like, I cannot.
Yeah.
No, I'm good.
I have
turned it off.
skimmed the Wikipedia for that, and it's not good.
Yeah. And then imagine you hear the dude that was in charge talking.
That's scary.
Oh, it was icky.
Yeah. Scamanda's not as bad. Obviously, it's like, okay, this lady sucks.
Scamanda. Scam Amanda.
Yeah. It's crazy. And, okay, here's part of it that I think is interesting. A lot of what she talks about is being part of, like, she is, like, pretty outspoken about her faith and her church attendance. And, like, that's where she gets a lot of the money from church, because basically she exploits Christians who are very generous people. I did appreciate 99% of the Christians in this podcast were great people and very generous. Then the one was terrible. And I think she was just exploiting Christians because she knew they would give money. But there was this crazy scene where she goes to like this mega church in California, or she did. And she is very charming. And so basically that's how she wins people over. She's very nice, charming, whatever. She is talking on this stage, and I guess like somehow it comes to the point where people are coming down to the front of the stage and literally throwing cash at her. Like, it's a nutso scene where she gets these people so much that they're throwing money at her. Like, it is a weird scene, but it's just like that just shows the extent of, one, she has no remorse for any of this. Like, crazy. And two, she just like scammed people so hard. But it's fascinating. So you gotta listen.
I'm gonna have to check that out for real.
Crazy stuff.
That sounds super intriguing.
So anyway, guys, we're not sponsored, but we are sponsored by Cuties. So remember, code MBUTY EBP 2000 for $2,000 off your order of at least 2,000 boxes of cuties.
Yes,
like a corporate thing. So
yeah, this is more of a corporate sponsorship. We're hoping that large corporations such as Kroger, Aldi, Walmart, Target, GameStop, Rallies, Frisch's Big Boy, Wendy's are listening to the podcast. And I don't mean like the CEO of Wendy's. I mean like Wendy's as a whole, from
Wendy.
the CEO all the way down. Wendy herself is listening. McDonald himself, Big Boy himself, Kroger himself, Mr. Aldi, Mr. Wall.
How big is Frisch?
Pretty big.
Wait, I guess it's not. Frisch himself isn't the boy. It's his Big Boy. What?
Frisch is Big Boy. Frisch is the owner of the Big Boy.
Like the owner or like the dad?
It sounds more possessive, so I'd have to say the owner. Yeah. Frisch's apostrophe S isn't a possessive version of Frisch, so I feel like it's more of an owner possession than it is fatherhood. But I guess it could be the other way around too. I don't know.
Yeah, well, on that note, this podcast, usually I release it at midnight, and that's in 2 minutes, so I should probably wrap up so I can get it out by midnight. No, I'll schedule it for like 4 a.m. or something. I don't really have a set time.
No one's listening at midnight on the dot.
No, they're not.
Hey, we should send them off.
I will be when I'm editing it.
Since this is nighttime, you want to send them off with some music and a good night?
Yeah.
While we do understand not everybody is listening at nighttime, this is for those of you who are.
Okay. My speaker turned off. Is that a good nighttime, just chill vibe song?
Oh, yeah. That's perfect.
Okay, I have to turn on my speaker. All right. Here, you send them off.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to the Everything Bagel podcast show, where you hear Ethan and Mitchell talk about a selection of very intriguing and creative topics. From the Barbie movie, to the rain and weather, to Am I Desperate? Gold stars being shared. We're glad you came with us on this journey. We hope to see you again next week on Wednesday to listen to the Everything Bagel podcast with myself, Ethan.
And Mitchell.
Follow us.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Bagel.